Hi, it's Caleb Carter, and I want to share a thought with you today because I think it will help put in perspective the obligation a lot of us have, particularly as we get older, okay? Let me back up. I got up this morning and I knew I had to write a column for a magazine, and I just didn't feel like doing it, okay? I knew that after that I had a podcast, and I just didn't feel up to it. I had a conference call. I was supposed to have a conference call after the podcast, and I was too tired. Didn't feel like that was something I just wanted to undertake. In the afternoon, I was scheduled to have a second podcast. Okay, two, two today. And again, you ever have one of those days when you just feel like, you know what? I just don't feel like doing all this today. And then after all that, at 6 o'clock, I knew it was weightlifting day, and I definitely did not feel like going down in the basement, in the dungeon, and throwing around a bunch of heavy metal, okay? So here's what I did. I did it anyway, okay? I did it all anyway. And that's not to make me a hero. Probably about 90% of you would have done the same thing. But here's what's important, okay? I didn't do it for me. I did it for the offshore club members, okay? Perhaps including you, if you're an offshore club member, which I hope you are, offshore.club, because that's the obligation. My obligation is to provide whatever guidance I can to help people make that move offshore at this critical time, okay? And here's how I want to apply it, if I may, to what you do in making your decision to move offshore, okay? It's not necessarily for you. It's not necessarily for you. You know, when I was thinking about what I was going to say to you in today's Caleb Carter Minute, I thought of a poem that my brother taught me. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you this. Over 60 years ago, okay? Over 60 years ago. That's a long time, isn't it? It was called The Bridge Builder. I have it sitting here in front of me by William Allen Drumgoole. About it. An old man going a lone highway, came an evening cold and gray. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but he came across a chasm, and the water was flowing too fast, and also he took the time to build a bridge, okay? Took the time to build a bridge. Another guy came up and said, well, old man, what are you doing that for? You know, I hate to tell you this, but at your age, you're not going to be passing this way again. And here's the final verse, and this I will read to you if I may. Okay, I will. The builder lifted his old gray head, gray hair. Good friend, in the path that I have come, he said, there followed after me today you youth whose feet must pass this way. This chasm that has been built is not to me. The chasm is as naught to me where the river was running through. But to that fair-haired youth may a pitfall be. He too must cross this bridge in the twilight dim. Here we go. Good friend, I'm building this bridge for him. Folks, you're making your move offshore at this point. Not just for you. I think you're going to love it. But it's for that fair-haired youth who may come along someday. Maybe it's your child, if you're young enough, your grandchild, your progeny. They need a chance in life. They need the chance that a lot of us who are my age had back when America was the entrepreneurial capital of the world, but it's not anymore. You know, somebody said to me, and I'll close with this the other day, what would you say if Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak came along and said, we want to create a computer company and start in our garage? I'd say, great, I think you can do it. You're pretty sharp guys. But let me make a suggestion. Make sure that garage is in Honduras or Nicaragua or Uruguay, Belize, somewhere south of the border, because if you try to do it here, the local, state, and federal governments are going to beat you to death. They're going to make you pay an arm and a leg that you can't afford with all their taxes and fees and assessments. And they're going to tie your hands with all their rules and regulations and red tape. Folks, for the sake of those coming after you, build that bridge for them, make that move offshore, give them the chance to be something big, because the land of opportunity is now south of the border. So let's do this thing. Let's do this thing.